So while at the time of recording this video, this isn't actually part of any of the computer science specifications. However, it is incredibly topical and definitely worth knowing about, because it might well have changed that thing. It could now be part of the spec when you're watching this video. I don't know, but it is topical and could still come up in, even if it's not directly in a question, it could definitely appear in a mark scheme going forwards. So the GDPR is basically the Data Protection Act you should already know about. And if you don't know about, watch that video first. But the Data Protection Act was sufficient, we'll say, for a while. But with the increase in big data analytics, the collection of data on the internet, it is no longer sufficient. So what happened in 2018, they brought out a new set of rules which most countries are now using, known as the General Data Protection Regulation, and it's currently the world's strongest data protection rules, and they came into play in 2018. Now, we're not going to go over this in the depths of detail because, like I say, you know the reason we're making this video. It's more a sort of extra piece of knowledge that I think you need. But to go over some of the basics, so it consists of 99 articles, so you can straight away see that it's way more thorough and deep than the Data Protection Act was. So there's 99 articles setting out the rights of individuals to do with their data. So to cover some of the main points, not all, but we'll cover some. One of them is ensuring consent is obtained. So that means when a company is collecting data from a customer or a user, they've got to get the consent of that customer or user to collect their data. Now, that was in play anyway. That's quite standard. They're typically deep down in the terms and conditions that everybody just ticks the box, but it's illegal not to do that now. Okay. User has the right to access data. So users have the right to access any piece of data a company's got about you. So Facebook is a great example here. So it's quite, since it's come out, Facebook have had to respond to requests for data access. So if I went to Facebook now and said, I would like to see every piece of data you hold on me, they have to give you some kind of report showing you every bit of data they've got on you, location data, everything. And it is quite scary. Okay, so feel free to have a go at that yourself, or certainly look into people that have done it online. And that's just Facebook as one example. But you have the right now to ask any company that's got any data about you to tell you exactly what they've got. Data portability is just this idea that data needs to be in a format that is portable between systems. User has the right to be forgotten. This one's quite cool. So now you have the right. Sometimes there's some loopholes here, but generally speaking, you've got the right to go up to any company and say, I would like to be forgotten, please. And what that means is they have to legally delete every bit of data they have on you. So you've got the right to be forgotten by any company that you want, so they can't hold your data anymore. Now, when I said there's a bit of loopholes, things like a school. So a school legally has to keep a record of your achievements for a certain amount of years, but you could still be forgotten in every other way. And but the level of sort of detail about your grades and things, there's so many years where I think the schools have to legally keep those in case they're needed by employers, all that sort of stuff. But generally speaking, you have the right to be forgotten. Now, privacy by design is when companies are designing the systems that capture the data, like the online forms and things like that. There are a certain level of rules that they need to abide by to ensure it's designed in a way that your data will be kept private in transmission and things like that. Like it must be encrypted, that sort of stuff. Breach notifications are if a breach happens. So a breach is when somebody could potentially access data, or data has been put in a position where it could have been accessed. That's known as a data breach. If that happens within 72 hours, you now have to inform data controllers and even the customers that it's happened. So people outside your company must be informed that you have had a data breach. depending on the severity, but that's generally the case. So now, if Facebook were in a position, I'll stick with them as an example because they collect a lot of data, and I've talked about them before. Facebook collects a lot of data about a lot of people. If it won't happen like this, but if a USB stick was left on a train and it contained some of my data and the USB stick was unencrypted and stuff like that, obviously they're probably working away where that would never happen. But just as a very basic example, and I had some data that was on there, they would have to inform me that this breach has occurred and some of my data could potentially have been obtained or accessed by blah, blah, blah. That's a data breach and they need to now be notified and reported on. And depending on company size, if your company, I can't remember what it is, but if it's over a certain size, you actually need to appoint a DPO, which is a data protection officer. So that's either somebody's whole job or it could be part of somebody's job. And the data protection officer is the one that people report to when they think there's been breaches, and they're the ones that keep an eye on the rules and might instruct the company to do staff training and all that sort of stuff. Just really ensuring they're working in a way that is going to abide by GDPR because it is the law. So that's GDPR. Like I say, not currently at the time of recording this on any of this computer science specs, but certainly worth knowing about, especially because it's very topical, having only come into play in 2018.